At Red Lobster, my family stole my inheritance. Dad threw down legal papers, screaming, "Sign or we'll make your life hell," while Mom said, "Your share's going to their future, not yours." I was called a failure, worthless at 30. Then I revealed my papers. By 2 a.m., they were begging outside my door. My phone buzzes while I'm mopping up a spill in aisle 6 of Crown Mart in Spokane. Family dinner, 7 p.m. sharp. Red Lobster, Division Street. "Don't be late, idiot." The text is from my brother, Calvin. That last word, idiot, is vintage Calvin. He's been calling me that since he was 10 and figured out he was smarter than me. He's a project manager now with a luxury condo downtown and a company car. I'm 30, work retail, and make $16 an hour. So, yeah, I get why he still thinks he's the golden boy. But I know something's off. Calvin doesn't organize family dinners. He commands them. My first instinct is to ignore it. Pretend I didn't see the text. But there's a weird pull in my gut. When Calvin calls a meeting, it usually means somebody's either dead or in trouble. And our family doesn't do drama in private. They like public scenes where no one can yell back. So I clock out early, rinse off in the employee bathroom, throw on my cleaner sneakers, and drive my sputtering 2008 Camry to Red Lobster. I get there at 6:55. They're already seated. My mom, Vanessa. My dad, Leon. My sister, Daphne. And of course, Calvin. All sitting on one side of the booth, like a jury. The other side, completely empty. Saved just for me. Calvin smirks when he sees me. "Wow, you made it. A miracle." "Sit," my dad says, his voice flat. "We need to talk about the inheritance." "Inheritance? What inheritance?" I ask, still halfway sitting down. My mom sips her Pinot like it's water. "Your grandfather passed 3 weeks ago." The words don't land right. Passed. Grandpa Arthur? I feel the booth shift under me. Nobody told me anything. No call. No message. Nothing. "We had a small funeral," Daphne adds, eyes locked on her shrimp cocktail. "Just close family." "Guess that didn't include me," I say, trying to keep my voice calm. My dad shrugs. "You've always been distant. We didn't want to burden you." Burden me? Grandpa was the only person who ever treated me like I mattered. Vanessa clears her throat. "Anyway, he left behind $480,000. We're splitting it evenly." I look around. 1, 2, 3. For people. "Don't you mean 5? I ask. Calvin laughs loud enough that heads turn. "Oh, come on, Eli. Be serious." Daphne smirks. "You're not getting a cent." I blink. "Why not?" Leon leans forward, voice low and cruel. "Because you're a failure. You make minimum wage, live in a shoebox, and you've never done anything with your life. We're not rewarding that. Your share's going to people who'll do something productive with it," Mom adds. "Calvin needs it for his MBA at Stanford. Daphne just got engaged and is buying a house." I am frozen. My stomach tightens as Calvin slides a stack of papers across the table. "Sign this. Legal release of your claim. Do it now, or we'll make your life a nightmare." I sit back. "Seriously? We've already talked to our lawyer," Daphne says. "You have no case. You weren't even at the funeral. You think you deserve money? Dad snaps. "You're a leech. You blow it on beer and use video games. We're just cutting the cancer." I take a deep breath, and then I smile. I reach into my jacket and pull out my own folder. Thicker. Official. With the court's seal stamped on the top. "Why don't you read this first? Like stories where the underdog gets the last laugh?" Hit that like button, comment your city, and subscribe. What would you do if your own family tried to erase you from a will? Dad grabs the top page, his confident expression dissolving line by line. His lips move silently as he reads. Mom cranes over his shoulder, face paling. Daphne snatches the folder, flips pages furiously. Calvin's eyes twitch. He's not used to being blindsided. The papers outline 4 things. 1. Grandpa Arthur did not die 3 weeks ago. He died 2 weeks ago, and he specifically told his attorney not to notify the family until his real will was filed. 2. His actual will was updated 6 months ago. He left equal shares to all 5 grandchildren, including me. 3. Grandpa explicitly warned against coercion and said any beneficiary try and pressure another would be disqualified. 4. I've been represented by an attorney for the past 3 months. And I've been preparing for this ambush since July. Their faces crack one by one. I've got the recordings too. I add. Conversations with Grandpa. He knew exactly who cared about him. I push away from the table. You can keep your shrimp. My lawyer will be in touch. I leave them at the booth, stunned. By 2 a.m., I hear them outside my apartment window. Ellie, please, open the door. We didn't know. Let's talk. We can fix this. I don't go to the window. I don't answer my phone. I don't open the door. This is just the beginning. After that night, things get uglier, fast. By the next morning, my phone's blowing up. Calls, voicemails, group chats I didn't even know I was still in. Now it's not just Calvin, Daphne, Leon, and Vanessa blowing up my inbox. It's everyone. Aunt Margie from Boise, Cousin Trevor from Portland, even Uncle Don, who got drunk at my high school graduation and told me I'd end up working a cash register forever. All of them say the same thing. You need to do the right thing. Think about the family. Be reasonable, Eli. I don't respond. Not once. That afternoon, my boss Connie calls me into the break room at Crown Mart. She's usually the kind of manager who avoids drama. But today, she looks uncomfortable. I got a weird call from your mom, she says, not looking me in the eye. She said you've been having mental health problems. That maybe you need a leave of absence. That you're unstable. She waits for me to explain. I sit there for a moment, breathing slowly. My family is trying to steal my inheritance. I say, they're running out of options, so now they're trying to ruin me. Connie's face changes instantly. She nods once. Got it. You're fine. If they call again, I'll tell them we're not interested in family drama. She pauses. And if you need a lawyer, our employee assistance program covers 2 consultations. I thank her, but inside I'm furious. They try to take my money. Now they're trying to take my job. The next day, Calvin is waiting outside my apartment. He's leaned against his silver Tesla, looking polished and smug, like always. As soon as I pull into the lot, he steps in front of my car. I park. Get out. Thought you'd be gone to Stanford by now. I say. I start in 5 weeks, he says. And I'm going. You're not screwing that up. He walks toward me, hands in pockets, trying to look casual. But there's tension in his jaw. He's not here to negotiate. He's here to win. He starts talking about family legacy and strategic decisions. That Grandpa Arthur was a sweet old man, but didn't understand the real world. You don't get it, Eli. I'm going to Stanford. Sylvia's getting a house. You work in a grocery store. That money helps us build something. What do you do with it? Buy a used couch and a new Xbox. I stare at him. You ever visit Grandpa? He frowns. Of course. Holidays. Not the last 2 years you didn't. He told me that. I see the flicker of confusion cross his face. This isn't going the way he planned. He said you stopped showing up the second he sold the lake house. Said the only thing you cared about was the inheritance. He scoffs. You manipulated him. You took advantage of a lonely old man. I shake my head. He recorded every conversation we had. He knew exactly what he was doing. Calvin's mouth opens, but nothing comes out. He switches gears fast. Look, I'm not saying you shouldn't get anything. What if we give you 60 grand? That's still more than you've ever had in your life. You mean I give up $40,000 so you can keep pretending you're the favorite son? It's practical. It's theft. We stare at each other. Calvin's mask drops for half a second. And there it is, panic. I reach for my phone. You have 5 seconds to get off my property before I call my lawyer. He leaves, muttering something about how this isn't over. He's right. 2 days later, it's Daphne's turn. She catches me after work. Different tactic. No smugness. Just tears. Her fiancé, Matt, whom I barely know, already moved out of his apartment. They sign a lease. The bank gave them pre-approval based on inheritance money. Now the sellers are getting cold feet. She's panicking. I didn't know Grandpa left you part of it. I swear I didn't, she says. I don't know what I thought. You thought I didn't matter, I say. That's what you always think. She looks shocked. That's not fair. You remember what you said on my 21st birthday? You told everyone I was the family cautionary tale. Then you laughed about it. I was joking. It wasn't funny. She wipes her face. This doesn't have to ruin everything. We can compromise. Please, Eli. I stay silent. Don't do this, she pleads. Don't punish me because I believe the things they said about you. I look at her. You didn't just believe it. You added to it. For years. She turns and walks away without another word. That night, I get an email from Grace, my attorney. They filed a motion to contest the will. They're claiming undue influence and questionable mental capacity. Now it's official. The estate is frozen. The court will review both sides. And now, the gloves are off. The morning after the will contest is filed, I meet Grace at her office downtown. She's calm, methodical, wearing a gray blazer that probably costs more than my car, but she talks to me like a teammate, not a client. They're going for the nuclear option, she says, claiming undue influence and mental incompetence. It's a classic move when someone doesn't get their way. Can they win? I ask. She shakes her head. Not unless they can prove Grandpa Arthur was senile when he updated his will, or that you pressured him into changing it. I tell her about the tapes. She blinks. Wait, what tapes? Grandpa recorded our Sunday chats. He said he liked to remember things. Grace's eyes light up. How many? Dozens. 2 years' worth. She leans back and exhales. Okay, that's not just helpful. That's a hammer. While Grace reviews the tapes, the attacks escalate. First, it's online. Someone, Calvin, probably, leaks a twisted version of the story to a local gossip blog. Suddenly, strangers are commenting on my Facebook page, calling me a con artist and pathetic loser leeching off an old man. Next, it's my job again. A different manager pulls me aside. Hey, just a heads up. We've had a few complaints from concerned community members saying you might be unstable, harassing your family. I stare at him. You serious? He nods. HR already flagged it. But Connie shut it down. Said it was a personal vendetta. My breath catches. Connie's still got my back. Good, because it's about to get uglier. 1 week later, Dad shows up outside my apartment. I don't let him in. I don't even take off the chain. He looks like hell. Hair messy, shirt wrinkled. But his eyes are ice cold. You're gonna ruin this family, Eli. You already did. We gave you every chance to fall in line. All you had to do was sign. You mean give up what Grandpa left me? He was manipulated. He spits. He was old. Lonely. You took advantage of that. He was sharp, I say. Sharper than you've ever been. Don't push me, boy, he growls. I know every landlord in the city. I'll have you blacklisted. I'll make one call, and you'll be sleeping in your car. I pull out my phone and hit record. He stares at it, realizes he screwed up, turns and storms off. Later that week, Grace calls with an update. I listened to over 7 hours of tapes. Your grandfather was clear-minded. No slurred speech. No confusion. He knew what he wanted. She sends me a few clips she's marked for the hearing. One is Grandpa saying, some folks in this family think they're owed something because they're loud and shiny. Eli ain't loud, but he shows up. That counts more than any degree or mortgage. Another clip. I don't want Calvin thinking he can bully people into getting more. I've seen who they really are when no one's watching. That's why I'm doing this my way. Grace also finds his last medical eval, clean bill of mental health, done 2 weeks before the will was updated. It's airtight. The court hearing is set for a preliminary challenge. If the judge finds their claims baseless, the will proceeds uncontested. If not, it drags into a full trial. The day of the hearing, I put on the one suit I own. Bought it 3 years ago at a thrift store for a cousin's wedding I wasn't invited to. Grace meets me on the courthouse steps. She looks confident. Inside, Calvin's got a hotshot attorney from Seattle. Guys wearing cufflinks and a Rolex. Daphne's not here. Vanessa and Leon sit 2 rows back, glaring at me like I'm the villain. The judge is a woman in her 60s named Judge Bartlett. Calm. No nonsense. The kind who's heard every lie in the book. Calvin's lawyer goes first. He calls Grandpa's will suspicious, says I was strategic, that I inserted myself into Grandpa's final months. Then he says something that makes my blood boil. Mr. Parker has a history of underachievement and financial instability. It stands to reason he might be motivated to influence his grandfather's decisions. Grace doesn't flinch. When it's her turn, she walks the judge through the timeline. The will update, the weekly visits, the assisted living facility logs, the receipts, the clean mental health evaluation, and then she plays the tapes. 15 minutes of Grandpa's voice, clear as day, talking about me, about my visits, about how Calvin only showed up when money was involved, about how Vanessa and Leon were obsessed with status, about how he wanted fairness, not favoritism. When the audio ends, the courtroom is silent. Judge Bartlett leans forward. Do you have any medical records suggesting Mr. Arthur was not of sound mind? Calvin's lawyer clears his throat. Not at this time, Your Honor. We're still gathering. She cuts him off. You're fishing. And this court doesn't freeze estates for fishing expeditions. She slams the gavel. Motion denied. The will stands. Proceed with probate as written. Just like that, it's over. I walk out into the sun, barely feeling my feet. Grace claps me on the back. You did it. No, I say. Grandpa did. The fallout starts within hours of the hearing. I get home, and my phone lights up like Christmas. First message is from Calvin. Hope you're proud. You just torched my future. He tells me his Stanford spot won't wait. They gave his scholarship to someone else. He'll have to reapply next year, with no guarantees. Then it's Daphne. Her fiancé bailed. Said she was reckless and entitled and too tied to toxic family drama. They called off the wedding. She texts me, you destroyed my life. I delete both messages. Mom calls that night. Her voice is hoarse, tired, older than I remember. She says, you know your father's not speaking to me? Because I wouldn't lie in court for him. I sit quietly. I didn't tell them about the tapes, she adds. I could have. I didn't. I finally speak. You want a medal for not lying under oath? She sighs. I want my family back. You want the illusion of peace, I say. That's what you've always wanted. She tries to steer it back to sentiment. Grandpa loved you. That's clear. Maybe you could honor him by forgiving your siblings. Maybe offer a gesture, give them something. She says this like I owe them. I tell her, my gesture was not dragging them through a defamation suit. Don't push your luck. Weeks go by. The probate process resumes. I get the full $96,000 after taxes and legal fees. Not a cent less. I move out of my cramped studio and into a small one-bedroom on the north side with real heat, working AC, and windows that don't leak in the rain. I fix my car. I pay off my debts. I enroll in classes at Spokane Community College, going for something practical, supply chain logistics. Grandpa always said it was smart to understand how things moved. The family starts unraveling. Leon loses a contract when one of his business buddies hears about the inheritance mess. Word gets around. Not the details, but enough to stain reputations. Vanessa still sends the occasional holiday text. I don't answer them. Calvin starts a GoFundMe for unexpected school costs. The donations stall out at $317. Someone sends me the link as a joke. Daphne moves back into an apartment near the university. No house. No wedding. No fiancé. I visit Grandpa's grave on a cold Sunday in November. It's the first time I've been back since the hearing. I bring coffee like I used to. Sit by his headstone. Quiet. Tell him everything worked out. That I kept my promise. I read him part of the letter he wrote me. The one Grace had attached to the court filings. The one where he wrote, don't let them decide what you're worth. Let your actions speak for you. A week later, I find something in my mailbox. No return address. Just a manila envelope. Inside is a single photo. Me and Grandpa on his porch, mugs of coffee in hand. Why I didn't even know existed. Taped to the back is a yellow sticky note. It says, he always said you were the only one who showed up. No signature. I don't know who sent it. Maybe Peter, Grandpa's old neighbor. Maybe one of the staff from the assisted living facility. But I frame it. Put on my desk next to my textbooks. Because now I show up for me. For months pass. The check from the estate clears. $96,000 exactly after taxes, legal fees, and court processing. Not flashy rich, but solid. Enough to start over the right way. First thing I do is close every credit card account I own. Then I pay off my Camry and drop $2,300 on a new transmission and a set of tires that won't hydroplane in the rain. Then I leave my old apartment behind. That place was a tomb, peeling walls, broken stove, freezing winters. My new one, it's nothing special. One bedroom, clean carpet, solid locks. No one yelling outside at 2 a.m. No busted AC. And for once, I sleep through the night. Classes start at Spokane Community College that spring. I'm older than most of the students in my courses, but I don't care. I'm taking classes in logistics, project coordination, and warehouse systems. Turns out, I'm good at this. I get my first A in a decade, then another, and suddenly, I'm not the family failure anymore. I'm a grown man with a direction, with a purpose. The rest of the family? Not doing so great. Calvin has to reapply to Stanford, but the spot's gone. The scholarship's gone. The recommendation letter from his previous mentor? Gone too. Turns out, Calvin's former boss didn't like how he handled the estate drama. Word gets around. He moves to Seattle. New job, lower pay. No MBA. No condo. Just radio silence. Daphne moves back into a rental with her college roommate. Her ex-fiancé, Matt, calls off the wedding entirely. Someone leaks a clip from the court hearing to social media. Just the part where Grandpa calls Calvin and Daphne loud and shiny, while praising me for showing up. That clip goes semi-viral in a local Spokane subreddit. The comments tear them apart. She really tried to cut her brother out of a will. Hope she loses the house and the man. She deletes all her socials for a while. Leon and Vanessa, their reputation in the community takes a hit too. A business deal falls through after a potential partner digs into the public probate record and sees the failed contest attempt. Word spreads. They try to cut their own kid out of his inheritance. Vanessa still sends holiday texts. The last one said, "Your dad still won't speak to me. Maybe one day you'll understand what that's like." I didn't answer, because I do understand what that's like. I lived with it for 30 years. 6 months after the court ruling, I get a voicemail from Calvin. I haven't heard from him since the courthouse. He sounds bitter, tired, smaller. "I hope you're happy," he says. "You ruined everything. I could have done great things. You should have just stepped aside. It wasn't that much money to begin with." That's how he ends it. It wasn't that much money. Yeah, not to him. To me, it was everything. It was independence, peace, power, control over my life for the first time. 1 year later, I graduate with a logistics certificate. I get hired by a local manufacturing company as a coordinator. Full-time, benefits, real salary. I buy a used Ford Ranger. I upgrade my furniture. I take a weekend trip to Glacier National Park, my first vacation in years. I don't tell anyone, because I don't owe anyone anything anymore. Grandpa Arthur saw me. When no one else did, he saw who I was and who I could be. And when they tried to erase me, I let the truth do the talking. They mocked me for being a loser. But now I live free, debt-free, clean and calm, while they sit in the wreckage they built with their own hands. I didn't steal the money. I didn't manipulate anyone. I just showed up. And sometimes that's all it takes to win.